I believe that this Fed has no strategic anchoring. It is a ridiculous sequence that we've had. In July, there's no need for a cut. In September, there's need for a jumbo cut of 50 basis points. And not much has changed in between. Then we come to the next two and we are recalibrating, meaning we're getting down to the 25, regular 25. Now suddenly, there's a huge discussion. Are we skipping? Are we pausing? There is no meaningful forward policy guidance coming from this Fed.
I believe XRP, it's the canary in the coal mine. It's telling you where crypto, specifically where altcoins are going to go. A lot of people are bearish on altcoins right now. They're saying we're not going to have an alt season because, well, the Federal Reserve, they announced that they're going to have a restrictive fiscal policy for all of 2025. They are going to keep rates elevated. And in that type of environment, risk assets, specifically altcoins, are not going to do well. And what I would say is, look at what Mohamed El-Erian said to start this video. And can you rely on what the Federal Reserve is forecasting? Their behavior, their actions are totally unacceptable, bizarre, just outrageous. They were doing absolutely nothing. And then out of nowhere, here comes this massive jumbo 50 basis point cut. Then they continue with 25 basis point cuts. The election goes a way they didn't want it to go. And all of a sudden, hey, we're going to be restrictive for the whole year. Like, it's nonsense. And typically what would happen is the Trump administration would start berating Jerome Powell, saying you got to bring those interest rates down. They're not doing that. They're saying, oh, well, probably making the right decision. What are they doing? Well, they're cutting government spending significantly. They're going to lower the cost of energy. And lastly, they are going to deregulate. These three things are going to bring down inflation, and it's going to leave the Fed on an island where they have nothing to do other than to start bringing down that rate. That's going to happen. And this is a deal. We don't have to wait for all of this stuff to occur. Investing, markets, they're forward-looking. It's an imaginative process. And as we get closer to that, people will front-run it, and you're going to see a massive appetite for risk assets, specifically altcoins. It's going to explode. What else has happened? Foundationally, this space has changed forever. An era gone by that we just slammed the door shut on. You know, you had a U.S. government that wanted to debank crypto companies. They wanted to sue. They wanted to harass. They wanted to stop crypto innovation. That's not where we are right now. We are building clear frameworks for laws. The SEC is working on guidance. The CFTC is getting ready to roll out their guidance. We are getting ready to adopt this technology, to use these blockchains as the tools they were designed to do so. And for that reason alone, when you look at asset values before that event, before that flip the switch moment, they all are worth so much more than they were before. So much risk has been taken off the table, and you should have a lot more optimism specifically for altcoins. And that is so apparent in the valuation of XRP. You've seen what it's done. Not because Bank of America's went on chain, not because really Ripple's done anything, just because the environment has changed and asset values are going to respond. Now, it's so apparent with XRP because you have such a direct and public confrontation with Ripple, the company, and that associated asset. But it's not just XRP that has, a better path forward now. It's literally everybody. From Bitcoin on down, and asset values are going to respond. And I don't think it's going to take too much time either. So this was a really interesting post. I'm fully out of Solana. I'm all in on ETH and, Cardano. RWAs is going to be the power narrative. Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, they have the power here. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of chains that have value with RWAs, but this is the one space, maybe beyond payments, where institutions, they want in here. This is why they want to use blockchain, and those cryptos that are ready to meet that demand, that have power in RWAs, they're going to have a lot of success here. You're going to see a lot of systems launch with that idea of real-world assets tokenized and put on chain. It's just a matter of time. We see Eleanor Terrett saying the following. Well, they acknowledge, talking about the XRP ETFs, that the issuers are applying for a product that classifies XRP as a commodity asset with a security wrapper. So again, people get confused. Just because an ETF is a security doesn't mean the things in it whether it be gold, whether it be real estate, whatever it is. The ETF is a security, but the thing inside is a commodity, right? Could be oil, whatever. Meanwhile, you've got the SEC pausing litigation over this very thing while Crypto Task Force works on figuring it all out. While it's definitely notable that they're not denying these products outright, I don't think we really know for sure what the SEC is thinking. Look, here's the deal. Just because they acknowledge the XRP ETF doesn't mean it's going to be passed. But I think what's going on here, really everything is on hold until the SEC chairman takes his seat, and then they're going to rock and roll. He's going to want credit for all the stuff that's going to happen, from closing out these court cases to approving these ETFs. Like, you're not going to do a lot of that stuff before your boss takes his position. And that's what they're doing. They're just stalling. But I think once the SEC chair takes his seat, you're going to see things move really, really quickly. Just in, JP Morgan has bought $100 million worth of Strategy B. Again, I think that's some sort of preferred stock, pays you a dividend, or it might be a convertible, some sort of convertible instrument, whatever. But we see even people like JP Morgan are taking interest in the crypto sector. I'm not the biggest fan of MicroStrategy because I'm not a fan of how they use leverage, but they're an entry point for a lot of institutions, and that's going to continue. Vitalik arguing that Ethereum needs higher gas fees, citing benefits from censorship-resistant L2 interoperability and security in the case of disaster. So he wants higher gas fees. Okay. We see President Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, says some important announcements on digital assets are coming soon. Now, this drives people nuts. They're like, oh, you're announcing an announcement. Like, this is never good. To me, it's important that we hear continuously from David Sachs that they are working on this issue, that they plan to roll out regulations. Like, to me, like, each announcement might not be huge, but we don't want them to go silent. We don't want them to go away and then nothing happens. Like, this is good. Continuous activity. It will amount to something here, and I think in short order. Again, they got to get that SEC chair involved. They got to get everything set up over at the CFTC. They got to get everything ready. But you're going to see it work really quick. I mean, we're talking a matter of months, not years here. I thought this was really interesting. I browse a lot on the IMF and different websites like that. And what they were saying, if you remember back in the financial crash, 08, 09, one of the problems was a lot of people had adjustable rate mortgages. So they really push everyone towards fixed rate mortgages, which of course is great because you're fixed in no matter what interest rates do, your payment's consistent. Well, the IMF is saying, hold on a minute here. Central banks, they don't have the control that we want them to with fixed rates. We need to try to incentivize people to get over into ARMs. Because then, of course, when you have an ARM, usually there's a fixed rate period, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. But once you pass that, this gives central banks, beautiful control. Like, if households are spending too much, raises their mortgage payment, right? Like, when you raise the interest rate, it doesn't take so long to have effect. People aren't selling their homes. Everything's kind of stagnant. Well, raise it till it's unaffordable, and then they'll sell that darn home. Like, this is really a shocking article to be out there in the public saying, we want to literally in real time be able to dip in people's pockets and take money out of the system. But that's what they're saying here. And I don't know how they plan to do this because most people like a fixed rate mortgage. But look for them over the next decade to try to move more people to ARMs. Because again, it gives central banks more immediate levers on the economy. You're buying up the price of eggs? Well, we'll take away all your money so you don't have any money to buy eggs. Things like this. It's pretty crazy. I'll try to find it and link it down below so you can read it yourself. We see Charles Hoskinson, Cardano founder, saying he predicts crypto laws will be passed in the next 90 to 120 days. That's really fast. That's blistering fast. I'm not so sure it'll be that quick. He would know better than I do. But, we're making progress, and that's exciting here. And it's going to get done, I believe, in 2025. We should see stablecoins and maybe one other bill before we close it out. We see here from this report, the appetite for risk is through the roof. So contrarian to that idea that this ain't a good time for risk because of Federal Reserve policy, leveraged long ETF assets reached a record $95 billion last week compared to during the 2021 stock market mania, leveraged longs were $67 billion. So you still see a good appetite for risk out there. I think altcoins are getting to that moment. We're going to see some growth, and it's really could be any day now, in my opinion. Lastly, I saw this. Solana right now is number 6, and nothing against Solana. I'm actually more tolerant of the blockchain now because I understand, if you're doing something in gaming, if you're doing something that requires a lot of throughput might be more important than security or all sorts of stuff. And so I think Solana has its place, but people like to throw out Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana like it's this top asset. And I've had a problem with that because if you remember last, bear market, I think Solana dropped down to number 17. Like if you have an asset ping-ponging in that much, it ain't a top asset, not like Bitcoin and Ethereum are. And I said, you know what? I don't think Solana's going to regain that top 3 this cycle. I really don't. I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe not ever, but I don't think it's going to happen this cycle. I don't think you can put an asset like this in the same category at the top of cryptocurrencies when, it'll jump up and take the number 3 spot for a matter of months, plus a few weeks, but that's it. Like Solana's great. Solana has its use case. It has a lot of activity on chain, but it's not the top tier asset. It's not even close in my opinion, but let me know what you think down below. Do you expect Solana to jump back up there with the top dogs? Or do you think, it'll be a good performer, it has its place, but you wouldn't put it at the very top of the crypto hierarchy? Let me know down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link. What is up, good people? Jungle Link here. I want to invite you to join my Patreon. It's $5.99 a month, but I plan to stock this with a ton of value here. Weekly newsletters, in-depth analysis, interviews, stuff that doesn't fit necessarily on the main YouTube channel, but I think you're going to really like. Check out the link below, and we'll see you there.